It was July 23rd, 2012. That is the day that Monday Night Raw aired its 1000th episode. It was also the day that, since that day, up until now, this show has been on a completely downward spiral. That was the day that Monday Night Raw expanded to 3 hours on the USA Network. They are in a downward spiral because Vince McMahon and his creativity, his genius, his ignorance, and his stupidity has run wild on this show for far too long. This show has been in a downward spiral because no matter how many times they want to admit they change with the times, they do not change with the times. They do not listen to the fans. So I don't care how you feel about Monday Night Raw. I don't care how WWE is admitting what is wrong with the show. We are well beyond any words. I don't want to hear anything anymore from Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Shane McMahon, Kevin Dunn, or any other fucking goon that wants to stand up for this pile of shit known as Monday Night Raw. We are well past words. We are well past promises. We are well past believing anything these people have to say. It is about time we put the fucking words to rest. It's time you start giving me fucking action. If last night is any indication of this new era, I don't want any part of it. At all. That show was fucking terrible last night. Absolutely fucking terrible. You want change? This is the change you got. Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, and unfortunately, a guy who I absolutely love and what he's doing with NXT and 205 Live, I absolutely love. Triple H, the whole McMahon family on Monday Night Raw come out and express that they haven't been doing right by us. Really now? Really now? Everybody else figured that out a long time ago. Now you're just figuring it out? Why is that? The ratings are in the fucking tank. But the WWE doesn't give a shit about the ratings. Vince McMahon doesn't care about the ratings. If he didn't care about the ratings, what the fuck is he doing on television? They haven't been doing right by the fans. They haven't been giving us what we want. They're going to self-motivate the roster. And Triple H says that this is now going to be our show. Stephanie McMahon says that it all starts right now. A new era starts right now. Triple H then follows that up, saying that within the coming weeks and coming months, we're going to start seeing fresh faces, fresh matchups, a fresh new direction. Then they proceed to tell me the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard anyone say on this entire program. They all collectively say that they're taking back Monday Night Raw from self-management. And I'm sitting there befuddled. I'm sitting there bewildered. I'm sitting there emotionless, listening to the empty words that these suits and ties, or in Shane McMahon's case, jeans and leather jackets, are telling me right now. You're taking back the fucking show? So instead of implementing real change, you're turning this into one big storyline where we are supposed to believe that you weren't running the show the entire fucking time? People, oh my God. Vince McMahon comes out and expresses that Monday Night Raw has been on the air for 25 years. Fine, you want to make a big spectacle, a big accolade out of it, do whatever the fuck you feel sounds good. But he goes on to say that he can't do it all by himself anymore. If anybody believes any of the bullshit that comes out of this man's mouth, you are the fucking issue. You are the problem. How is anybody watching this show, young or old, gonna sit here and believe that A, they're taking the show back from virtually themselves because they're the ones scripting this garbage every fucking week? And how is anybody gonna sit there and watch this shit and believe that Vince McMahon is saying, I can't do it all myself anymore, proceed to embarrass Baron Corbin, bring out the entire McMahon family, go in the back, and somehow have a partial role in the show anymore? They all came out there and fed you, spoon-fed you, everything you wanted to hear. They sat there and they chose their words wisely to make you believe, because they are desperate for any type of rating increase, any type of attention, any type of positivity on social media. They are going to tell you exactly what your heart desires. And how many times has this company failed you? How many times has this company let you down on Monday night? As soon as they go back through that curtain, no matter what Triple H says, no matter what Stephanie McMahon says, no matter what Shane McMahon says, it is all fucking pointless. Because the show is still going to revolve around one man and one man only, and that is Vince McMahon. So I don't want to hear anybody's bullshit about, oh, it was a step in the right direction, and this new fucking initiative that they're pushing, and Renee Young sounding like a fucking idiot last night. This new agenda, this new era is off to a great start. If starting your show off with fucking Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin last night is a start for a new direction, then these people are as dumb as I expect them to be every single fucking week. You all were taken for a bunch of idiots. I didn't expect anything to be said last night. I didn't expect one thing to be said last night that made me believe that this show was going to fucking change. Because you know what? Everything that they said is not the fucking issue. This show's issues are much deeper than Stephanie and Triple H coming out here and telling us that the show is garbage. We know why the show is garbage. We tell you every week. It's your job to fix it. I am done hearing about what is wrong with this show. Put the fucking footwork into fixing the issues. Enough of the bullshit already. I'm over it. This show is not going to be fixed in 1 week. I understand that. For all the people, why don't you give it a chance? Why don't you give it a chance? Let them do what they gotta do. They need to finish up storylines. Boo fucking who? What storylines? What? What storylines? The only storyline that should have remained was Rollins and Ambrose. Everything else should have been reset. Everything else was done. Corbin was out as GM. Ronda has no opponent. Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler are fighting over nothing. Bobby Lashley and Elias are fighting over nothing. This show could have given us a fresh start last night, but they refused to do so. Stephanie says it starts tonight. If that was the start of a new direction, My God, you fucking people are the biggest suckers I have ever seen in my entire life. And you know what they proceed to do? Triple H comes out and says, you're going to see new matchups. You're going to see new faces. You're going to see a new show that revolves around what you want. This is going to be your show. You are now the authority on Monday Night Raw. Motherfucker, if I'm the authority, hand me the fucking pen and let's get to work. That's not a Monday Night Raw that is going to start off a new direction or a new era. The problem lies deeper than what was said by Rollins and by everybody else last night. It all starts with Vince McMahon. This entire show needs a complete overhaul. A complete overhaul. And even that is not the fucking issue. The issue is they do not change with the times, no matter how many times Vince McMahon says that Raw does. They are within their own, and I mean they, meaning Vince McMahon, because Triple H clearly is adapting to the times. He is adapting to the times. He knows what the fans want. He knows what the fans want to see and who they want to see and the direction of the product that the company needs to be in and what the fans want to see as far as direction of the company. It starts with 3 fucking letters. NXT. This company's issues lie deeper than whatever has been brought to light on public television. It's about how they use their wrestlers. It's about how they pen storylines. It's about how they use everybody to the best of their ability. There's not going to be any batch of new faces that are going to save Monday Night Raw. There's not going to be any batch of new matchups that's going to save Monday Night Raw. And there's not going to be any fan participation to make this show better. The problems lie within Vince McMahon. And when Vince McMahon is finally on the verge of stepping away and has completely stepped away, then the shows will be better off for it. You know, it's funny how many people make fun of CM Punk. It's funny how many times CM Punk is mentioned by the WWE Universe. I wonder why. Because the last things of note that man said have been nothing but true ever since he left. This company is better off with Vince McMahon dead. That may be cold, that may be heartless, but it was the fucking truth. And then he proceeded to say that this company's only going to be taken over by his stupid daughter and his doofus son-in-law. But I'm here banking on Triple H and having faith in Triple H. While many people might not feel the same way, I have faith in Triple H in that he knows the direction that the company needs to go in. Whatever they did last night was nothing but empty words. They gave you a show that did not start a new era. It was the same fucking shit covered in a fresh new coat of paint. They start the fucking show off with Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle. A fucking match that we seen at TLC. The only difference is Kurt Angle wrestled and Braun Strowman did not. So they made the TLC match with Braun Strowman fucking pointless. Pointless. This is the start of a new direction. This is the start of a new era in WWE. Then they proceed to give me a Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler match. It's not a fresh matchup. It's not something that I really care for on WWE, but so be it. It's a good wrestling match, but where is it going? What is it doing for any of the parties involved in that feud? WWE gave us a fatal 4-way tag team title match for a number 1 contender shot at the tag team titles with the Revival, the AOP, the B-Team, and the Lucha House Party. I guess they have one positive thing of note to come out of this show, in that the Revival won the fucking match and are now the number one contenders, being that the Revival were named in that promo by Seth Rollins. WWE, on the same side of the coin, eliminated the guaranteed rematch clause that most of these performers use as a crutch, or WWE, I should say, uses as a crutch to continue a storyline or fill dead television. No more title rematches based on rematch clauses. Shane McMahon mentioned this to Drake Maverick after he pretty much demanded a rematch with Rude and Gable. And Shane McMahon uses the word antiquated to say we're not doing that anymore. The new regime is getting rid of that antiquated situation. WWE then proceeds to give Ronda Rousey the microphone and have Ronda Rousey come out and state that after every pay-per-view, I'm making it a new tradition. The champion's going to come out the next night and defend her title. I guess that's good. I guess that kind of feeds into the point of fresh matchups and unpredictability. I'm with that. I can stand behind that. WWE has Dean Ambrose come out last night and do an open challenge. The open challenge is answered by Tyler Breeze. I can get behind that. Yes, Tyler Breeze was on television, but Tyler Breeze didn't look good last night. Yes, it was a fresh matchup, but Tyler Breeze didn't look good last night. He showed up in NXT and looked like $1 million when he challenged Ricochet for the North American Championship. Shows up on Raw, challenges Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental title, and instead of WWE doing the right thing and giving us a new direction, Dean Ambrose wins in 7 minutes. Seth Rollins attacks Dean Ambrose after the match, and Tyler Breeze doesn't look any better than when he was behind the curtain. What was the fucking point? What was the point? Then, here's the cherry on top of the cake. WWE gives us 1 hour of a women's gauntlet match. I'm all for the women getting the spotlight. I'm all for the women carrying the workload on WWE television because it's been that way for the better portion of 3 months now with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. Now you can include Asuka in this discussion. The better portion of an hour on Monday Night Raw in that entire third hour for a gauntlet match that tried so desperately. I know I made mention of, well, why doesn't WWE go back and give us unpredictability? The last great Raw that we seen was the gauntlet match with Seth Rollins. That was the last great Raw where WWE went outside their bubble. It felt like a non-Vince McMahon effort. That was the last time, like I said, they went outside their comfort zone and gave us a great fucking show that everybody loved. And it also kickstarted the summer of Rollins. What did they do here last night? I don't give a shit what you thought of the gauntlet match. That shit was fucking boring. Boring. At least in the men's gauntlet match, we got characters and performers that we actually cared about. In this gauntlet match, Dana Brooke, Alicia Fox, Mickie James, who gives a shit? Trying so desperately to make Bayley look like the female version of Seth Rollins. Trying for Bayley to sell a knee injury and run through the gauntlet and overcome all the odds, starting out at number 1. Only for it to end up with fucking boring Natalya and Sasha Banks in the end, with no crowd reaction whatsoever. A dead crowd. A dead fucking crowd. The last thing I want to mention here about this new direction, WWE is giving us 6 new NXT talents on Monday Night Raw. Lars Sullivan, EC3, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, and Heavy Machinery. How can anyone get excited about this? They haven't even used the last crop of NXT talents that they brought up after WrestleMania correctly. You expect them to sit here behind the fucking desk every week in Stamford, Connecticut and give us proper portrayal of these 6 characters? Heavy Machinery? What tag team division is there on Monday Night Raw where Heavy Machinery is going to thrive? Has WWE given you any indication that they give a shit about tag team wrestling? Nikki Cross, the only one in that bunch that I can honestly say I am excited about is Nikki Cross. Lacey Evans? Is Lacey Evans ready for Monday Night Raw? Absolutely fucking not. As far as I'm concerned, Lacey Evans fits the typical WWE agenda in that she's blonde and she looks hot. And she's different. If you think Lacey Evans is going to be ready for the main roster, then you're a fucking fool. She fits perfectly into their agenda. So does EC3, and so does Lars Sullivan. EC3 can't wrestle for shit. It's got charisma for days, but EC3 is not going to get it done on Monday Night Raw. He fits right into the fold of boring, generic characters on Monday Night Raw. But you know what? EC3 didn't have much to do in NXT. Neither did Braun Strowman. Neither did Elias. Maybe he gets over on the main roster, but I'm not giving it the benefit of the doubt. Because he is fucking boring. He might as well be Bobby Lashley. Lars Sullivan? I'm a Lars Sullivan fan. Is Lars Sullivan ready for the main roster? He very well may be, with WWE's direction, but the only reason why Lars Sullivan is going to be ready for the main roster is because he's got a typical look that Vince McMahon loves. And if something about you resonates with Vince McMahon, then you are going to have a rocket strapped to you, a rocket pack strapped to you, and you are going to achieve heights that you've never been to before. With little wrestling skill. Is Lars Sullivan going to get over? Do I have faith in WWE making Lars Sullivan into a monster? Yes, I do. But is he ready for this new direction? Is he part of the changing with the times in WWE? No. No. You want to mention changing with the times, right? How does any of those 6 NXT talents resemble changing with the times? Now, if the 6 were the Undisputed Era, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream, that is what I call changing with the fucking times. But no, you picked strategically 6 NXT talents that will do nothing but cover up a fucking shotgun blast with a Band-Aid. There is no amount of new faces that is going to change this show from what it currently sits in or sits at. There is no fresh matchups on this show regarding those 6 individuals that is going to make this show any better than what we've already been given. It all starts with Vince McMahon. It all starts with treating the fucking characters and the wrestlers and utilizing them to the best of their ability. I've told you time and time again that this company needs to use NXT as a cheat sheet on how to run things. If you think that trading Baron Corbin for 4 more authority figures on Monday night is going to be the solution, you are part of the fucking problem. This is downright laughable. Laughable. I don't expect any fucking change. At all. At all. But you know what? I mentioned it briefly in the beginning. I know that this isn't going to happen right away. But you know what? Am I wrong in wanting it to be right away after we've waited 6 fucking years for this show to finally change its tune? Am I wrong? I have every fucking right to be disgruntled as a fan, every fucking right to be disgruntled, annoyed, frustrated. I have every fucking reason to doubt everything that these people say, because they have never said something and backed it up. And if they have, it's been a very rare situation. This is not the start of a new era. I understand that this isn't going to immediately be the show we want on night one. I understand that. You could see why everybody's frustrated and why everybody wants it to be. There was no reason for WWE to put on the show they did last night. There was no thought into anything that they did last night. They used the same revolving cast of characters in the same boring and remedial way, and it didn't produce engaging, interesting television. Gauntlet match or not, it was fucking terrible. It did nothing for anybody. Nothing. Tag team division? Yeah, the Revival won. Why don't you go read the fucking spoilers and see what they did with the Revival? Bobby Lashley and Elias in a 34th Street Miracle fight, whatever the fuck they call it, Miracle on 34th Street fight. Do you want to see what they did with Bobby Lashley and Elias next week? If you think that Stephanie McMahon said it starts now and you were going to get change, man, oh man, are you going to be disappointed. I'm going to be sitting here after the new year 5 times. I hope that this show last night was lower than the week before. And the Christmas episode and the New Year's episode, I may be sitting here with an 8-time award for the lowest ratings of all time in one single calendar year. Man, what a celebration to cap off the worst year for WWE creatively. They failed last night. They already dropped the ball on this new era. They already dropped the ball, and if you don't think so, shut your fucking mouth. You mean nothing to me. People like you are people I don't want to converse with. Oh, it starts today, Stephanie McMahon says. Triple H then follows that up. In the weeks and months to come, you're going to see a new direction for Monday Night Raw. We've heard this same old song and dance every single fucking time. It's like when I used to listen to 92.3 K-Rock in New York City. How many times as a fucking teenager in high school would I hear the same Creed song every single fucking hour on the hour, like clockwork? They never played anything different. It was the same shit that they played every single hour, 24 hours a day. And by the way, Creed's best song is What If. Just throwing that out there as a little sidebar. This company will never learn. They will never learn. Never. And I mentioned that I understand this isn't going to be built in one day. And I'm having some sort of fucking thought process here about where this could be going or where this could lead. Vince is on Monday Night Raw. Okay, are we going to see more of Vince? Is the brand split coming to an end? Right? What type of position are all 4 of these individuals going to have on SmackDown Live? Are we going to see Sanity? Are we going to see Ty Dillinger? Are we going to see Andrade Cien Almas? Are we going to see more of Shinsuke Nakamura? Characters that we have not been seeing on television at all? Is there going to be more of a focus on an in-ring product when it comes to SmackDown Live? Does this mean that Triple H is going to have more of a political pull backstage? Are we going to start seeing some of his vision that we see in NXT start to slowly seep to the main roster? Is this leading to a power struggle between Triple H and NXT and the way he does things in NXT? And is that going to clash with what Vince McMahon does on the main roster? Are we going to see a battle for supremacy, not just on Monday Night Raw, but a battle for supremacy in the WWE between Triple H, who is the heir apparent with everything that he's doing, and Vince McMahon? Are we going to see some sort of power struggle between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, or not Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, Triple H and Shane McMahon, after the rumors several years ago that we could be headed for a Shane McMahon and Triple H match at WrestleMania? I don't know. But all I know is WWE gave us 6 NXT call-ups, and that's not the answer. It's how you use them in which the answer lies within. That's how you use them. That's the issue here. How you use everybody you're going to be calling up. There's no reason to believe that this show is going to change based on the NXT faction of or portion of this shit and how everybody else was brought up. WWE made mention that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are coming back. Great. How are they going to be used? That's the fucking issue. But if you think that Vince McMahon is somehow going to miraculously step away from writing and booking Monday Night Raw, if you somehow think that what Vince McMahon stated in his opening line last night, I can't do it all myself, and then proceeds to bring out his family, is going to be the new era or the start of a new era, you're a fucking blithering idiot. Because as soon as they walk right back through that curtain, all the power goes back to Vince McMahon. And Stephanie, Triple H, and Shane, they're going to be giving Vince McMahon the answer that he wants. Yes. Anything else is going to be shot down. There's no reason to believe that this show is going to change. And if you are disgruntled and you are angry and you feel like me on every single Monday that we watch, you have every fucking right to be, and everything that we've seen so far is the reason why this company lets their fan base down at every single twist and turn. With the way that these characters have been used, with the way that this division has been this tag team division has been fucking destroyed, the way the women are portrayed on Monday Night Raw, the fucking fact that there's no characters to believe in on this show, the rinse and repeat of the same matches over and over again. If you think by adding 6 NXT talents to this show is going to change what you've already seen on this show, you're a fool. You're a fool. I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. This show last night was the same shit that we've been given every single fucking week. Every single week. Start off with the opening. I want to actually play the promo with Vince McMahon and his entire family. The new era begins on Monday Night Raw.
So everybody wants to know what's going on with Monday Night Raw. I'm sure you've asked that question. Because Monday Night Raw has been on the air for over 25 years. That's extraordinary. One of the reasons for our success, of course, is we change with the times. When the times need a changing, we do just that. We change with the times.
Let me stop it right there. I'm going to be cutting in and out here. It is the fact that Vince McMahon said that, right? Are they changing with the times, or are the ratings changing? Because WWE has shown us that they don't give a shit about changing with the times, because if they did, then they would have picked up on what NXT is doing a long time ago. NXT apparently is changing with the times. NXT is giving us the wrestling product that fans desire right now. Wrestling fans want to see that type of product on the main roster. Whether you believe me or not, it is true. It is true. More people have fled WWE as far as viewership goes to go find alternatives doing exactly what they want. If WWE doesn't start doing that, then there's no hope in saving this show. Simple as that. Is WWE and Raw changing with the times? Clearly not. If the last 6 years and this show being 3 hours is any indication, they're not. Vince McMahon is so out of touch with the fan base. For him to say that is downright laughable. Yet you have people out there believing change is on the way. Or better yet, thinking that what happened on this show is change. Laughable.
Despite one man's brilliance. Despite one man's creativity, one man's vision.
Can he suck his cock anymore?
Can't do it all by myself anymore, that's for sure.
No shit! You got how many people working underneath you who have not been given an opportunity? How many people do you have working underneath you that have brought something good to the table and immediately it was shot down because Vince McMahon wants to make people laugh with a few pee-pee jokes or toilet humor? How many people have delivered something as far as an angle goes that could go over well on the main roster and Vince McMahon shoots it down because he wanted to push Roman Reigns? How many heel turns could have happened that actually made sense and could have really offset this show that were shot down because Vince McMahon was too steadfast in his own ways? Of course, this show can't run by one man and one man alone, and on one man's creativity, if you even want to call it that, one man's ignorance, one man's stupidity. The time for one man to write this show or any show in WWE, you talk about antiquated. Shane McMahon wants to throw the word antiquated around when talking about rematch clauses. It's antiquated to have Vince McMahon write this show all by himself. If the rumors are to be believed, Vince McMahon wrote the last 3 Raws, all by himself, completely rewrote them after the show was delivered on Monday night. Antiquated. Again, times are changing. They won't change, and nothing on this show will change unless this man here, Vince McMahon, is completely away from the fucking pen and paper.
I can do it without you guys, though.
Yeah, sure you can. That's why you're out here, right?
So with that in mind...
How many people have left watching this show and prompted him to come back?
We'd have a family reunion on Monday
He
night.
can do it without us, he says. Man, the ego runs wild with Vince McMahon.
And
what an incredible start to Monday Night Raw. He is the COO of this company.
The only man I have any ounce of faith in, right there.
And
Triple H.
Here comes the money.
You're kidding me.
Aw, snap.
It's not Tuesday. That town just came unglued.
Well, we're out here tonight because we haven't been doing a very good job for you lately.
No shit.
We haven't been doing the one thing that my father has always taught us to do, and that's listen to our audience. We've let middle managers air their petty grievances. We've been suffocating our superstars, and all of that is going to change, and it starts tonight.
Really? Really now, Vince McMahon has taught you to listen to the fans. I want Vince McMahon to look himself in the fucking mirror and ask himself if he's listened to the fucking fans. Because I clearly, little old me, went on Twitter a couple of weeks ago and accumulated 5,400 likes with almost 2,500 retweets to Vince McMahon's official Twitter account on Monday Night Raw. Did he listen to the fucking fans? Of course not. He delivered a show equally as worse as the one before it after that tweet went out. Vince McMahon doesn't listen to the fans, and Stephanie saying that is nothing more than a mere cover-up. I don't believe how people don't see this shit on Monday night with this fucking segment. Vince McMahon is to blame, and Stephanie has the microphone taking blame for everything that happened on this show when one man is to blame only. That one man is Vince McMahon. I don't see how none of you see this. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon are taking the blames for how bad this and SmackDown have been? Meanwhile, Vince McMahon is standing there, walking away scot-free, innocent as innocent can be, and they did, it's like a Roman Reigns situation. They did everything. Now, I knew they weren't going to mention anything about Vince McMahon being to blame because he's the CEO and he's the guy in charge and he's the man up top. I don't understand how people are watching this and believing the words coming out of Stephanie's mouth. It's all because of Vince. And meanwhile, he's standing there innocent. Innocent. They gave him an innocent fucking bystander role here. The jury has deemed him innocent. He has his daughter taking a fucking bullet. It's like Vince McMahon's the president and the Secret Service jumps in and takes a bullet for the president. That's exactly what Stephanie McMahon is doing here. It is fucking laughable. Laughable. And people cheer this shit. Fuck you, Sacramento!
We're off to a fresh start.
Really?
The days of absentee management are over. As of now, the four of us will be taking back Monday Night Raw.
When has it ever walked away from you? Who believes this shit? When has this show never not been the McMahons or Vince's? If you believe this fucking garbage, you are the fucking issue, man. You are the issue. I don't understand how anybody watching this shit could have been excited about anything that... And I love Triple H and the vision that he's given us in NXT. But Triple H is falling in line just like the rest of them. They are giving you exactly what you want to hear. And it's nothing but empty words. I'm tired of the words. Instead of this long-winded 20-minute fucking open, you should have started a new direction. We're all tired of hearing what you're going to do. Why don't you just fucking do it? And I don't want to hear the simple fact of, oh, TLC was 4 hours, and Raw was 3 hours, and SmackDown Live was 2 hours. Look at all the hours of television that WWE has to produce on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Who the fuck told you we wanted 12 matches at TLC? Not one single soul. Nobody. Who told you that we want a 3-hour Monday Night Raw every fucking week? Why don't you go tell USA Network to shove the third hour up their ass? The third hour is killing this show. You don't understand how many times I've told you, with 1 week, if you see Raw at 2 hours instead of 3, how much of a difference that show would be. Tired of the excuses. Oh, you gotta give it to WWE for owning up to their mistakes. I don't give a shit. Their actions should be their actions. They're allowing everybody to be brainwashed by the words that they're feeding you. Actions speak louder than words. And if the actions that were portrayed on Monday night were any indication of a new fucking era or a fresh start, then this show is already dropping the ball on said new era. And people cheer this shit.
SmackDown Live as well, because the four of us are personally responsible to ensuring that all of you have the best possible experience that there is.
And how are you exactly going to do that? How are you going to give us the best possible experience on Monday and Tuesday? It starts with the writing, folks. It starts with portraying and using the characters that you have at your fingertips in the best possible way. It's about putting backstage politics and agenda behind you. It's about doing what's best for the show. These are all empty words.
We're going to empower our superstars and empower all of you.
And more importantly, we're going to give you what you want. Something new.
Oh my God.
Something fresh. In the coming weeks and months, you will be seeing new faces, new superstars, new matchups. As of now, you are the authority.
And as long as we give you less of what you don't want and more of what you do,
less of what I don't want is Vince McMahon. More of what I want is Triple H's vision and his direction for the company. Then,
WWE
now, and
will
forever.
always
Blah,
be
blah, blah.
Then, now, and forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, we sat through this nauseating garbage, and none of it did anything to change the fucking show. They could have at least started last night, and they didn't start. It's not going to start next week. It's not going to start on New Year's Eve. Now, listen, I mentioned it, and this is going to be the third time I'm mentioning it, okay? Maybe WWE realizes that the 2018 year is a complete wash. It is a complete wash. There's nothing that they could do differently to close out the year. It's going to be 3 of the worst rated shows of the year, Christmas and New Year's. Everybody's going to be spending time with their families. Everybody's going to be doing what they got to do for the holidays. Nobody's going to be concerned about watching WWE, but I'll be right here reviewing all the shows as always. I understand that they might understand that that is exactly the way it's going to be. And their mentality is, well, why are we going to put on shows that no one's really going to watch because of the holidays? I understand that. But WWE isn't in an off-season. There's no reason for them to slack. There's always going to be people watching. And they should always have the mentality of putting their best foot forward, holiday or not. I'm tired of the people using excuses, oh, well, WWE is going into autopilot because it's football season, or it's because it's the NFL playoffs, or it's the NBA. Or the NBA playoffs, or the World Series, or the MLB playoffs, or this, or that, Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football. It's the fucking Westminster Dog Show, whatever the fucking excuse that you guys gonna conjure up for Monday Night Raw. Those things happen every year. Every single year. Why are the ratings now the lowest they've ever been, even though the changing of the seasons happens every year? And football season, and baseball season, and basketball season, and hockey season happen every year at the same fucking time. What's the issue? Tired of people using those excuses. Those things have remained constant. WWE's viewership has not. Where have those people gone? Why have those people left? It's because the show is fucking terrible. It's because the show is fucking terrible. Where are all the people complaining that I complain? Where have you been, huh? I haven't heard a fucking peep from you on Twitter. Where are you? Have you gone back into your fucking crusty holes? Have you went back and covered yourself under your fucking smelly sheets? Where have you gone? Oh, JD, why are you so negative? The show was good. You got 4 people out here to open Raw telling you exactly how they fucked up and how bad the shows have really become. They're admitting it themselves. Whether it's kayfabe or it's a legit shoot. Where are you now? Do you still think the show is good? Do you still think the show is good now that all 4 of these individuals here, the most highest of power in this company, have admitted that the shows are fucking terrible? That they have not given us what we want? I don't believe anybody could sit here and legit bend over backwards and take what these four vomited up on Monday night. Monday Night Raw last night was fucking terrible. Terrible. And you know what? I've been with this company for 32 years. 32 fucking years. I have watched ever since WrestleMania 4. And I am going to give them, believe it or not, the benefit of the doubt. I am going to sit here and wait for this supposed change. Because A, I'm a fan of the company. This is what I talked about when I always use the analogy of my Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves got a new front office. They just signed Josh Donaldson and Brian McCann. Whether Brian McCann is a factor in them getting to that next level or not, I don't know. But if Josh Donaldson is healthy, man, is that a great signing. That's change. WWE needs to do the same thing. Who's their Josh Donaldson? How are they going to get their front office to a point where the management is doing what the fans want and the fans are going to believe in them? You see, the Braves' attendance now that management is putting things into motion and management shows that they're starting to care about the team and they're going out and making big free agent signings with another $20 million to spend, maybe on a top-tier starter or another big bat or maybe bullpen help. I wish Craig Kimbrell would fucking lower his $19 million a year desire and take a homegrown discount and come back and close games for me next year, but one could fucking dream. But the management is in a state right now where the fans believe in what they're doing and what they're building. Attendance is up. Merchandise, I'm sure, is selling well. Fan morale is at the highest it's ever been. If these people do what the fans want and go out there and put a winning team on the field, then fans will come back. Attendance will be back up. Those black sheets that you see in the arena on SmackDown Live, they may be filled with another 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. Merchandise, WWE shop, will probably be up 15 to 20%. Ratings will start being on an upward swing instead of a fucking plane crash down. It's not that difficult. It is not that difficult. You know, a lot of the things that plague WWE are right in front of their face. The overwhelming hours that we have to consume this product is one of them at the very top of the priority list. There's no reason why pay-per-views should be at 4 hours. Whoever has the we'll give them more and the more is better mentality is the fucking biggest crock of shit and the biggest thing that is harming this company. Why is there such a disconnect between what they do on the main roster and what they do in NXT? Why is Triple H's vision different than what Vince McMahon is doing? Vince wants to give you 4 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours of a pay-per-view. Meanwhile, Triple H has never eclipsed 3 with NXT. Yes, there's 8 less matches on a takeover. But the fact remains that if they're filling 3 hours with 4 fucking matches, how good is their writing? How good are they treating the characters and performers and portraying them in the right way? How much importance have they given the in-ring product and the character development? All of these things are visible to everybody watching. The overabundance of television on this show is one of the deterring factors that Monday Night Raw is fucking sinking every single week. 3 hours needs to be 2. I know you've heard it from everybody else, but this is fact. Vince McMahon walking away, characters being used the right way, ending the brand split might be the best thing for the WWE. But then you got the rumor of Fox not wanting to mingle with NBC Universal. But if the brand split needs to stay, then you better make sure you're giving me less of Monday Night Raw and more focus on storyline-driven character development. That's what I want to see. That's where the issues lie. The issues do not lie in bringing up new faces and plugging them into the same old shit that you usually see every single week. It's how you use them. Monday Night Raw started off with Baron Corbin wanting the McMahon family to give him a second chance. Because what happened at TLC was completely unfair. WWE had Baron Corbin out there. First of all, they cut away at the worst time for a commercial break. One of the weirdest spots for a commercial break I've ever seen. Baron Corbin's out there explaining how Bobby Roode and Chad Gable and Finn Balor and Braun Strowman and Heath Slater all just completely shit on him at TLC. It wasn't fair. And he's hoping that the McMahon regime now, since they're back in power, don't know when they ever were they weren't in power, right? I can't remember a time when they weren't in power. Wants them to reconsider. So Baron Corbin is booked in a match with Kurt Angle to open the show. Man, we're off starting this new era on the right foot. This is a brand new direction on Monday Night Raw, right? So Kurt Angle comes out and he beats Baron Corbin with the help of Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Heath Slater, and everybody else that interfered in that match at TLC. Everybody but Braun Strowman. So what they did, and I didn't hear anybody else talk, Apollo Crews, what everybody else talked about, they didn't mention. Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman was rendered worthless on Monday Night Raw. Why the fuck were we even given that match last night? And what happened if WWE was only going to turn around and give me the same match, but the only difference is Kurt Angle is filling in for Braun Strowman. Everything else was legitimately the same. Everything! Down to the steel chair shots, down to Apollo Crews' frog splash, down to Heath Slater making the 3 count. But this is the new change that Stephanie McMahon, just 10 minutes before this, said starts tonight. You're all a bunch of fucking idiots. That was the way the show opened up. A 4-on-1, no DQ handicap match where Kurt Angle, Chad Gable, Bobby Roode, and Apollo Crews beat Baron Corbin. Whatever. Baron Corbin is out of power. They traded 1 GM for 4 authority figures. Some change, huh? Some change. If this is the change you wanted, God bless you. Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler. Good match. Good little match between 2 guys who could legitimately go. Not doubting their ability whatsoever. Finn Balor wins by DQ because of exactly what I said on the TLC review. Exactly what I said on the TLC review. Why did Finn Balor beat Drew McIntyre at TLC? I don't fucking know. Where would Finn Balor be if he lost to Drew McIntyre? Exactly where he would have been the entire fucking year. Down at the bottom of the barrel. Has Finn Balor done anything to make you believe he's going to be in a Universal title picture or he's going to be on the top of Monday Night Raw? So what would have been the difference if Balor lost or if he would have won? Nothing. He would have ended up the same way if he took the L at TLC. Now, Drew McIntyre, right? He's the one that they're building up on Monday Night Raw, right? They put all their stock in Drew McIntyre. He lost to Dolph Ziggler. He comes out the next week and beats Dolph Ziggler down. Then he goes into TLC and loses to Finn Balor. Back and forth we go like a seesaw. Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler trading wins over Drew McIntyre. What is it doing for anybody? What is it going to be doing for anybody? Nothing. This is filling dead television time. I can't imagine how anybody gives a shit about what these 3 guys are doing right now. Now, I do have one little piece of information for you. I mentioned on my TLC review how Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman is wanted as the WrestleMania main event for WrestleMania by Vince McMahon. And Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins is the one that Triple H wants for the main event of WrestleMania. Now, with the way Drew McIntyre has been portrayed in the last few weeks, and how I am sure he is going to be portrayed in the coming weeks, moving on into the Royal Rumble, it could very well be leading to Drew McIntyre just kind of floating around and biding his time, doing the job for Dolph Ziggler and Finn Balor just to kind of keep them where they are without them slipping down into complete obscurity. Drew McIntyre could be doing the favors because he legitimately is going to win the Men's Royal Rumble, and Braun Strowman is finally going to beat Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and we are definitely going to get Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 35 for the Universal Championship. Now, that would make Braun Strowman a transitional champion, but I don't really find that to be all that interesting, if you ask me. I don't consider that a WrestleMania Universal Championship match. It could be a WrestleMania match as an undercard match, but as a championship high-caliber contest during WrestleMania, do I see that as being that? No. Not even close. Braun Strowman is pretty much dead to me. There's nothing about Braun Strowman that is special to me anymore. Drew McIntyre winning the Royal Rumble? You know, at this point, I don't want Drew McIntyre to win the Royal Rumble. I would much rather see Seth Rollins win the Royal Rumble if you had to choose one on Monday Night Raw. And out of everybody on Raw, he's legitimately the only one that I would want to see win the Royal Rumble. The only one that is believable enough to win the Royal Rumble. Everybody else has been kind of a letdown. Seth Rollins is the guy on Monday Night Raw, and everybody else is following his lead. I don't see Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre as a championship match for WrestleMania. So that could ultimately become a reality because of the way Drew McIntyre has been booked. And what I say on my TLC review, watch Drew McIntyre come out and lay both guys out. What happened? That's exactly what happened. No difference here. No difference here. Drew McIntyre comes out. He gives a Claymore kick. And Claymore kick to Balor and Ziggler. And that was it. Nothing new here. Good little match. But that, you know, it's one thing to say it's a good little match. It's another thing to say if it meant anything. And it meant nothing on this show. Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose comes out, starts ripping the fans, saying that they should respect him. Ambrose says he said exactly what would happen at TLC. Seth Rollins lost control and choked in the fourth quarter. Ambrose says this show has been choking in the first quarter. Never mind the fucking fourth quarter. Ambrose, because that means that you had 3 good quarters, Raw, and then you kind of choked in the fourth. This show choked in the first quarter, and they never regained the ball, ever. Complete blowout. Rollins lost control, choked in the fourth quarter. Ambrose says he doesn't need anything from the fans because he has the Intercontinental title. He says this is nothing because when he's done with Rollins, Rollins will have nothing left. He's going to take Rollins' career and the fake good guy reputation he has and throw it in the gutter where it belongs. Ambrose calls Rollins to the ring, and Ambrose was right. Rollins never showed up. Fans are chanting, "Burn it down." Ambrose wonders if Rollins is even going to show up. He says, you know what? I'm going to do things a little bit differently as my first night as Intercontinental Champion. I'm going to issue an open challenge to anyone not named Seth Rollins. The antiquated term thrown around by Shane McMahon as far as the rematch clause goes should be used for the open challenge. WWE takes something that worked so beautifully several times before it, and when they find something that the fans like, they hang on to it and beat it like a fucking piñata. They beat it into the fucking ground. They expose it time and time and time again to a point when it doesn't become special anymore. It doesn't feel special anymore. That's what's going on with the open challenge. This is WWE's way of saying, Hi guys, look at us. We're the Raw creative team. We don't have one creative brain cell between 30 of us. Or maybe it's just Vince McMahon. Hi guys, I'm Vince McMahon. I'm a 73-year-old, senile, ignorant fuck. You want the open challenge? You like the open challenge? All right. I'm too lazy to write anything new, so we'll give you the open challenge. Out comes Tyler Breeze. My ears perk. My eyebrows raise. I'm excited. I can get behind Tyler Breeze. I'm like, holy shit. Look at this. Finally, after the first hour of complete garbage, we're going to start seeing the new era off and running. Ambrose is out there. He's got his masked men, right? Who looked very large, by the way. So the immediate thought of Rollins being under the mask of one of those men clearly was felt throughout social media. I was not the only one who thought that. So we get an Intercontinental Championship match with Tyler Breeze and Dean Ambrose. Now, the way I would have booked this was Tyler Breeze winning the Intercontinental Championship, and because of one of the men revealing himself to be Seth Rollins, ruining Dean Ambrose, and having him lose the title to Tyler Breeze. Did that happen? Was WWE that bold enough to take a new step in the right direction? No, of course not. We got Dean Ambrose, who doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship, feuding with Seth Rollins, who doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship. You wanted to step in the right fucking direction? They're putting the title on someone who's been underutilized for 4 fucking years. And Tyler Breeze was the right direction. WWE dropped the ball in every sense of the word. They tried to give you something new, and I appreciate the fact that you tried, but in the end, it all felt flat. In the end, NXT made Tyler Breeze look like $1 million, and WWE threw Tyler Breeze out there as a fucking jobber. He didn't look good last night. Yeah, he got a super kick. Yeah, he got the beauty shot on Dean Ambrose. Yeah, he got a couple of near falls. But what did it do for Tyler Breeze's stock? Oh, but JD, he was on television, man. Spare me your fucking excuses. The fact that he's on television means nothing to me. It's all about what I told you about 20 fucking times. It's about how you use them. Was Tyler Breeze used in a good way in which he looked good? Did he come off new, fresh, and exciting to you? Did you get the revitalization feel with Tyler Breeze? The answer is no. You didn't. WWE resorts right back, or reverts back to what they usually do best, giving us something that we don't care about. Rollins was definitely underneath one of the masks. He was one of the men wearing the gas masks. What does he do after the match? He attacks Dean Ambrose. Wow! Well, the new era is off to a great fucking start here on Monday Night Raw. Same old shit. Same old shit. After their match at TLC, I don't want to see another Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins match ever again. After the match, Ambrose was attacked, like I told you. McMahon's backstage with Charlie Caruso, asking what the fresh start means. It means nothing. Shane says we will see more new faces on Raw and SmackDown, and opportunities will come knocking. Yeah, Vince said that 2.5 years ago, with the fucking brand split. Has he kept his word on that? The man doesn't know what he wants to do 5 minutes after he says something. New opportunities? Hardly. Drake Maverick interrupts with the Authors of Pain. How the Authors of Pain have not dumped this fucking guy on his head and sent him packing back to 205 Live is beyond me. Shane says he's well aware of them. Drake goes on about how Akam and Razor had the Raw Tag Team titles stolen from them. Drake mentions their mandatory rematch clause. Shane says the whole mandatory rematch thing is antiquated, just like this fucking show is antiquated, especially since Baron Corbin handed them their shot in the first place. Shane says they have an opportunity in mind for AOP. They will face the B Team, who have not been on their show. Don't know who in their right mind wants to see B Team, B Team. No, no, no. I don't. The Revival and Lucha House Party in a fatal four-way on Raw. Winners will be the number one contenders for the tag team titles. EC3, Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, and Lars Sullivan announced for Monday Night Raw. The only ones I'm genuinely excited about is Nikki Cross and Lars Sullivan. Names and faces from NXT like that are not going to change the way we think of Monday Night Raw. Honestly, all those names, like I mentioned, I love Otis and I love Tucker. I love Nikki. I've grown to like Lars. I think there's a ton of potential in Lars. But every time NXT talent comes to Raw, it is a fucking graveyard for their careers. If you think that these six are going to find success, all six of them are going to find success, then yeah, you're a fool. They will do nothing as far as changing Monday Night Raw. Bobby Lashley's in the ring with Lio Rush. They're sitting under a spotlight with a guitar, just like Elias. In fact, the guitar that Bobby Lashley was holding was the one that he broke over Elias's back. Rush starts running down Elias, says Lashley is here tonight for a true performance. Rush asks everyone to silence their cell phones, hold their applause, and shut their mouths. He then goes on and introduces Bobby Lashley's favorite pose. I caught myself. Trashley's favorite pose. He's not Lashley in this realm. Elias suddenly appears as JoJo introduces him, ends up breaking guitar over Trashley's back. Wow. They're booked for 34th, a Miracle on 34th Street Fight next week, folks. And if Eggnog gets involved, don't say I didn't warn you. Yeah, but there's change coming in WWE, right? A new era is starting in WWE on Raw, right? Let's all have a little eggnog next week on Monday Night Raw. It's toast to the new change. Fuck out of here. Fatal 4-way number one contenders, AOPP, Revival, B-Team, and Lucha House Party. The Revival win here with a Shatter Machine on Bo Dallas. Will they win the titles? Find out next week when they don't. Hey, look. You know, the Revival was mentioned in that Seth Rollins promo, right? How they should be the leaders of the tag team division and they should be the champions of said division. That's off to a good start, right? All right, the Revival won, right? So it's a step in the right direction. One little baby step in the right direction. Now, it's all in the follow-up. How is WWE going to follow up the Revival becoming the number one contenders? Find out next week on Monday Night Raw. That was already filmed. Seth Rollins is backstage with Charlie Caruso. Rollins says that last night at TLC was a disaster. His match was. The overall show was, okay. Personally and professionally. So, for all the fucking people on social media who say, oh, but WWE doesn't listen. They don't watch. They don't give a shit about what you say. Right? Rollins is out here saying that the TLC match, his performance, both professionally and personally, was a disaster. So clearly, they heard everybody shit on that match. He let Dean get in his head. Rollins says he heard the crowd last night, and that's on him. No, Rollins, it's not on you. You guys did what you needed to do. It was on Vince McMahon, who booked Dean Ambrose in a miserable heel character, and it was the man who produced that match who fucked everything up and decided to book a wrestling match with in-ring psychology, selling a knee in a very old-school manner when the feud never called for it. The feud should have been high-octane intensity because of what happened with the heel turn and the betrayal and Roman Reigns. Or it should have been portrayed in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Neither Dean came off important or the Intercontinental title came off as important. It was all a fucking waste. WWE put no care into this feud, and the crowd gave it right back to them. Rollins, you are not to blame. It's everybody else around you. Ambrose is not even to blame. It's everybody else around you who handled the situation. down to creative, the way the title's been portrayed, the producer, and the way that they stuffed you right in between the WWE Championship match, which was fantastic, and then the women's TLC match to close the show. So yeah, they clearly didn't think too highly of what they were doing, yet they're going to go out there and make believe you're the number one feud on Monday Night Raw. Who's to blame? Everybody else around Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Feud is not over, folks. I would not be surprised if we get some sort of rematch at the Royal Rumble. We have a shot inside gorilla position. Was Vince McMahon sitting there? No. Looked like two goons sitting behind gorilla. We got all the female superstars arguing with higher-ups, whoever's sitting there, about getting a title shot with Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey's in the ring. She mentions Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, SmackDown Women's Champion, Asuka, right? She didn't come out here to justify her actions at TLC. Ronda came out to say that what a real champion does is fight the night before, win, and shows up after a pay-per-view ready to defend her title in an open challenge. I can get behind that. So the camera cuts backstage to all the female superstars on Monday Night Raw bickering like fucking children. Alicia Fox, Natalya, Dana Brooke, Mickie James, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Ember Moon, Bayley, and Sasha Banks are all out. Stephanie says, shut the fuck up. Follow me to the stage outside and follow me to the ring. Stephanie says Rousey will defend the title against the winner of this upcoming gauntlet match, which starts right now. She sends Alicia Fox and Bayley to the ring first. This gauntlet match was fucking boring. Absolutely fucking boring. First of all, you got so many women in this division that I genuinely don't care about. And B, the WWE tried so desperately to mimic what they did with Seth Rollins earlier in the year before the Elimination Chamber with that gauntlet match and tried to have magic work its thing again. And you know what? It failed. It failed in every sense of the word. We had Bayley run through Alicia Fox. We had Bayley run through Dana Brooke. Mickie James ends up pinning Bayley, right? Then we get Ember Moon, and she hits the Eclipse on Mickie James. By the way, Mickie James sells the Eclipse fucking epically. She takes that Eclipse like a fucking champ. So Ember Moon hits the Eclipse on Mickie James, right? So we got Rousey watching from backstage. There's a camera shot about Rousey watching the gauntlet match. So, like I said, Mickie was nailed with the Eclipse. We have Natalya running out. She drops Ember Moon. She beats up Ember Moon, rolls up Ember Moon for the pin. Then we got Ruby Riott with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan outside. So we get a rematch from TLC happening again in this gauntlet match. Natalya gets the win over Ruby Riott. And Sasha Banks is the last one to come on out. And it's Natalya and Sasha Banks. This was pretty much boring up until like the last 2 or 3 minutes. There was a transition here where Natalya had a roll-up on Banks. Banks countered and turns whatever Natty was trying to do into a DDT. So Natalya levels Banks with a clothesline, 2 count. Natty goes for the sharpshooter. Banks crawling to the bottom rope. Natalya drags her back into the middle of the ring. Banks then crawls back to the ropes again to break the hold. So there was a little drama there. I really enjoyed that little segment. So Banks rolls out of the hold, sending Natalya neck first into the turnbuckle. So she rolled out of the sharpshooter, and she flipped Natalya into the bottom turnbuckle. So Banks then turned that into a Banks statement. They tangle, and Banks gets the Banks statement locked in. Now Banks pulls back on the hold, and Natalya tries to get out. Natalya rolls through and stands up with Banks. Banks gets out, but Natalya nails a German suplex, drops Sasha right on the back of her fucking neck. Back and forth in the corner. Banks goes up, hits a huge meteora off the top rope. Natalya kicks out. Natty blocks an attack from behind. Natalya avoids another Banks statement. She blocks a DDT, slams Banks back into the mat face first with a face buster. Natalya then applies the sharpshooter in the middle of the ring, and Banks taps out. It will be Natalya versus Ronda Rousey at Monday Night Raw's Christmas Eve show next week, which was taped already in Sacramento. My God, Sacramento, not only did you fail me as far as crowd reaction goes for the opening segment, but you had to sit through another 2 hours of Monday Night Raw back to back. Man, I do not wish that on my worst enemy. This sucked. This gauntlet match was fucking boring. So Ronda Rousey comes out. She comes marching through the ring, smiling. She hugs Natalya. Then all of a sudden she takes a step back. A nice menacing grimace falls over Ronda's face. She goes to shake her hand. Natalya's got a serious face now because they realize, yeah, I love you. I'm your friend, but it's about the title. I earned this shot. I'm going to take the title. Right? I was waiting for Natty to just fucking clock her in the back, turn heel. But we got a nice friendly interaction, competitive but friendly interaction with Natalya and Ronda Rousey. Raw goes off the air with Natalya standing on stage, pointing up at her dad, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, in heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you all listened to every word that I said here in this review. I didn't record this last night because A, I had a headache, and B, I just wasn't feeling it last night. So I came here today to give you exactly what I thought on Monday Night Raw. And if you don't think everything that I said is exactly the way it was on Monday Night Raw, I do not want you to even look in my direction. I don't understand how anybody can be so gullible to believe this company that change is coming. I understand that they got 3 weeks of television from last night and the end of the year to fill. I understand that. And change might not immediately present itself. And that there might be a bigger plan in place where this all is going to revolve around. I understand that. But if this is Stephanie McMahon's vision of starting now, it should have never been uttered. Because what they did last night just resembled the same fucking show we've been given the last 3 weeks with a fresh coat of paint on it, with some fucking words to get you all hyped, and nothing really was delivered in terms of new, fresh, and exciting. Monday Night Raw dropped the ball last night. It's not going to take NXT stars being called up like EC3 and Lars Sullivan and Lacey Evans. I don't know who the fuck is claiming they want to see Lacey Evans on the main roster. Who the fuck cares? It's not that. That's not going to fix the show. What's going to fix the show is exactly what I mentioned earlier in this podcast. And if WWE doesn't follow through with that, we are going to see the same mistakes made in 2019 that we got all year in 2018. Don't believe the bullshit. It's nothing but empty words and empty promises. We are far beyond hearing what they're going to do. You need to start acting and giving me change. There's no more time for talk. This show right now is treading tragedy-like levels. If you don't change now, you will never get that fan who was once in love with this show back ever again. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. This has been your Monday Night Raw review. If you enjoyed the review, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you all tonight for SmackDown Live. I'll talk to you guys later.